you see somebody that is being unruly or is doing something that you feel that they shouldn't do, then I think you as an adult or a parent could ask them if you could speak to them. Don't embarrass them, because who wants to be embarrassed, right?
Right, yeah.
So don't embarrass them. Just ask them if you could speak to them for a second and maybe ask them why are they acting that way.
Or
right?
just don't forget that we were
Exactly.
once kids.
That's
like
right.
you said, we were those ages.
Exactly.
Might not remember back to the time that you were 2, but
That's
at
right.
least that we used to
Yes.
be children as well.
Exactly.
You know, I once asked a friend, listening
Yeah.
to how he was speaking to his child, and I was like, do you even remember when that's you probably did the same thing.
Yeah.
Don't act like you was
Exactly.
born under your mama
Yeah.
at 38.
That's right.
So, you know,
So,
and you
yeah,
just have
those
to
are the
remember
things
that.
that we can't forget as adults, that we were once upon a time there too,
Yeah.
and how did we act?
Yes,
You
that's
know,
right. That's
so-
right. That's right. And also, that brings me to setting an example now. So, I mean, there's all these different programs. You know, my husband works with youth, and they set these programs in place for kids that get in trouble and, you know, have to pay back to society and whatnot. You know, so if, as a facilitator of some of these programs, or as a community leader, as a police officer, role models, if you're a role model for these youth, what examples are you, you know, are you going to be in the room speaking with them, and then your boss calls to you, and you're like, gee, what does he want now, man? What does he want? You know, and you're right in front of the kid. That's probably not the best example to show, you know, so we have to be constantly reminded of, be aware of our surroundings, and that these children are looking up to us, because
Yes.
I work with a lot of kids in our programs, and when I'm thinking of like, they're looking at me everywhere, and I can't go to Sobeys without, if someone sees me,
Yeah.
I better not be blue mad because I can't get this price for this. I want to see the manager.
Yes.
So we have to be constantly
Yes,
aware.
you do.
You know, your examples for your kids,
Yes.
your examples for our
Exactly.
today's youth.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
Any other further thoughts on being a role model?
Well, you know, that's probably a very important part of young people's lives is you know, accepting positive role models within their life. And, you know, as the policing universe and being, you know, a police officer in charge of a unit, you know, my biggest thing is youth, and we try to strive to ensure that we are presenting ourselves in the proper manner to these youth. Some of the things that happened to us was youth, if a young person acts out, the first thing a mom will say is, there's the police, they're going to take you to jail.
That's true.
In that child's head right then and there, you know, there's some fear
Yes.
put into that child. And it's not the mom, it's the police officer who's standing there.
Yeah.
So anytime after that, if we don't engage into that conversation, every time that young person sees a police vehicle,
That's
they're
true.
going to have that situation of fear that the mom's like, well, there's the police again, you can't act out.
Yeah.
For the most part, as a police officer, we address that usually when it happens.
Okay.
And we usually say, no, that's not the case here. But we will talk about the incident, whatever happened, as far as, you know, making better choices,
Yeah.
right? And we work a lot with the youth in the community of Preston, because that's where I police, and we have a lot of programs in place. And, you know, some of the stuff, you know, that we look at is our DARE program, which is Drug Abuse Resistance Education Program, which we teach to grade 5s and 6.
That's a beautiful program.
And it is.
Yeah.
And as you know, one of the other things that we started as a pilot project in East Preston this year is the RCP Stetsons and Youth Program, where we're bringing a bunch of young men and women together. And Constable Elizabeth Lebain is the person who's coordinating it. Every Thursday night, we bring them. They wear policing uniforms, and we teach them the police vocation. You know, exactly what a police officer's role is. And we're trying to develop these young men and women into good leaders and good role models in the community. So, you know, out of all these things, as far as young men and women, you know, having things in place, I know from the policing side of it, we are, you know, we have a plate full of things there with the fork and knife to eat it. It's just, you know, getting the community and the youth on site to come forward and involve themselves. With some of the history between the police and the community, you know, we have you know, risen above that barrier that has been there, and we're totally on the other side.
Yeah.
So our goal now is, you take some of the 14, 15, 16-year-olds, we kind of look at that as, what can we do for them? Sometimes not a whole lot. But when we look at the 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 up to 10, there's a lot that we can do. So that's where we kind of put a lot of our energy into is that age group.
That's really good. It's funny that you mentioned that, Calvin, about what the moms would say, because I admittedly was one of those who said, if you keep acting up, you will be going down to the cell and staying in there for a day. And I think we need to get out of that, because it does instill fear in them. So I think maybe the reason why we do it is because no longer can you say your daddy's coming home, because they don't listen to the daddy no more either. So daddy don't scare you, have to go one step higher so Mr. Policeman will come. But yeah, so then moving along, I like the fact that you're saying with the program, you interact with them so they can see that they don't have to be afraid of the police, and that the police are there to protect them. Because, I mean, the truth be told, yes, there are some officers that kind of don't get that. But I mean, I think that here in the Preston area, you guys are making a difference. So maybe that can trickle over to the ones who haven't quite gotten it yet. But it's, yeah.
Because it's an ongoing thing. You just can't just set up a pilot project and, give it a year or 2 years and then it ends.
Exactly.
And then there's a whole other void. You know what I mean? And I think that's really more important than, starting these wonderful, great ideas, is having some consistency with these programs.
Yes.
I've done projects where all of a sudden the money runs out, and then it's like, well, the need's still there. So I would just caution you on that.
We that's one of the things, and I'm glad you mentioned that, is that programming sometimes will go, people will get tired, people will transfer, nobody there to to sort of take that and run with it again. Just recently, I've been doing a project on the Adopt a Library program, and if you look at statistics, it shows that through literature, we can prevent crime. So what we're doing now is we have achieved our goal to the point is that we have got all these books now, and we are going to be delivering these books to Nelson Wine Elementary School and Bell Park School, attached to 2 police officers. These books will be a part of the everyday library, which the kids can go take off the shelf. But once a week, these officers will go into the classroom and take any book and read to these children.
Wow, that's
Nice.
great.
Along with that, we have, if you go to Stake and Sign, the little treasure, we have a treasure case, the same as that we take with us, and each kid gets a trinket from the treasure. With that, they have to read a sentence of a book, each child, while we're there. So I agree 100% with you that these programs must continue on. There has to be, has to be long term. Band-aid solutions and quick term things doesn't work. We see, but we continuously look at programs. I have someone working in my office who's a civilian member whose 100% job is developing and putting programs in place. And yes, there are some short-term things that we have to do because with projects we have to test the water to see if I'm going to, as the supervisor, if I'm going to invest all my time into something that really is not going to benefit the community or my unit at the end. So there's continuous programming, and it goes from like